The Real Estate Photography Podcast is brought to you by tourbuzz.net, high-definition virtual tour and photograph hosting, now with interactive floor plans. Sign up for your free trial today. Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Photography Podcast with Mike Mariello. Today my guest is the author of The Essential Guide to Lighting Interiors, Techniques for Lighting with Small Flash, sorry about messing that up, with Scott Hargis. Hi, Scott.
Hi, Mike.
Welcome back.
Yeah, good to be back.
Good. Well, basically, we have your book, and you wrote this book recently, and I just wanted to say it was fantastic. I enjoyed reading it, and I wanted to give you a chance to plug it on the podcast. So tell us about your book.
Well, first of all, thanks so much for that. The book is, the title says it all. Guide to Lighting Interiors. These are just the techniques that I use every day, whether I'm shooting real estate or whether I'm shooting for interior designers or architects. The fundamentals really remain the same. The tools change a little bit, but it's in response to I get at least an email a day asking me for advice or for help, and often asking me specifically, do you have a book? Literally. So the book is a response to that. It seemed like there was a need for it, for sure. And over the course of about 9 months, I slowly put this thing together. It was a lot of work, fitting it in around a shoot schedule that's as full as mine is. But ultimately we got it together. So it's a good book for people that are shooting real estate for sure, because it's really geared towards having to work light and fast, really fast, and produce a set number of pretty good shots in a pretty fast amount of time. So it should work well for that niche. The techniques that are in there again are going to work. They scale up very well. And it's fundamentally the same sort of thing that goes on in other genres of interior photography as well.
Great. Tell me how the book is laid out. I noticed you basically went through this one house.
Yeah, that was the big challenge with writing it, was figuring out, I knew there were I could make a list of the techniques that I wanted to make sure to include. And of course, every room type has its own issues that come with it, right? So there's living rooms and open floor plans, and then bathrooms have their own set of challenges, and bedrooms have their own set of challenges. So trying to figure out exactly how to present all this in a way that was cohesive, I went through several false starts, and nothing seemed to be working. And literally, it's a true story. I was shooting a house. A developer that I work with had just done this massive remodel, and I'm sitting in this house, and I thought, hey, what if I were just to take the story of one shoot from start to finish, right, and just make that the book,
right?
And just everything that comes up for me in the course of that shoot, we'll just put it in the book. And if I screw something up, it'll be great. I'll just take that opportunity to show, how this can happen, what goes wrong, and how to get around it. And it was great. That ended up working out really well. So that in truth, I wound up making about 3 trips back to that house, because shooting for the book, is a little more involved, just shooting for the client. But ultimately, that's what I did. And so we just took it from bedrooms to bathrooms to living rooms to kitchens, all within that house. And then I had to diverge a little bit. So we got into the kitchen chapter, and I thought, well, this is just one kitchen, but there are so many other things that can come up that didn't come up in this particular one. And so I have a whole other, tangent where I go off, and I think we've got 6 or 7 case studies of different kitchens, to go into. So the book takes off in tangents several times when I want to go into more detail, but hopefully this continuity, this thread of this one shoot ties it all together.
Yeah, I thought that was fantastic. The other thing I noticed in the book is what you're working with. You mentioned it in the beginning that you're talking about the tools you use every day to do a set number of shots very quickly, very fast. Right. So the materials you're using are strobes, small speed lights. Tell us more about that as opposed to using live lights or something else.
Sure. The Yeah, the speed lights are definitely the way to go for real estate photography, without a doubt.
Right.
And in fact, I still use speed lights extensively in conjunction with a pack and head system when I'm shooting other types of interiors. They allow you to set up very, very quickly. They're lightweight. They're relatively cheap. I can carry 10 of them around, no problem. I can afford 10 of them, and I can carry them around both,
Right.
which neither of which is true for if I was carrying around hot lights or monolights.
Right.
And so you can mix and match lighting sources, no problem. But for real estate, I get by exclusively with speed lights. Again, I'd rather have 5 little low power lights than one big powerful light any day of the week. Much more versatile.
Right, and I like in the book you go into a lot of detail about the well using lots of lights at one time, and I was going to say the lighting diagrams of the rooms, so I should let the viewers and the listeners know this is specifically intended for people who are using not just one speed light but lots of them.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of photographers. This comes up in my workshops all the time. There's a lot of photographers that are using one flash, usually mounted on the hot shoe of the camera, and it's just the quality of light that you can get from that is really limited. So this is definitely geared towards using remote flash, very possibly in conjunction with the flash on the camera. But getting the flash off the camera will revolutionize the way you shoot. Pretty much, you'll never ever look back once you make that move.
Yeah, I totally agree. Anything else you want to talk about real quick? Because we just want to plug it and give people the information on all the special situations or the post-production chapter. Anything special going on at the end?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I hope I did a good job with is just getting the fundamentals of Flash, kind of the theory of Flash photography across. And this is another thing that I've learned through doing workshops, is that a lot of people don't have a good enough grasp of the fundamentals of the way Flash and exposure work together. The way Flash plays with the camera differently from the way ambient plays with the camera. So I worked really hard to get that into the book. And we did a lot of interesting exercises to make that happen. We take them into a little attic together, to try a shot where there's no ambient light whatsoever, that sort of thing. We threw in a little bit of post-process, and the book is primarily about lighting, so there's not a whole lot of information about composition, although that does come up. There's not a whole lot of information about post, but we did do a chapter, because there's no question, we are always shooting for post. I'm shooting with what I'm going to do later on, in Lightroom or Photoshop. I've got that in the back of my mind. So there's a chapter that runs through some of the basic things that get done to almost every image. And again, we take a couple of sample images and just take them from straight out of the camera right through the raw processing. And then there's a couple of chapters that are in the works. The book is an ebook. So you're downloading a PDF, and there are going to be periodic updates. We've already had one update just to fix up a few grammatical errors that we found after we were published. But there are going to be new chapters written from time to time, and I've got that prioritized already. So there's going to be some new material coming out, and when you buy the book, it's a subscription. You get every future update for free. So that's just automatically get emailed out whenever there's an update.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that, but that's an added bonus. That's great.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, I thought it was fantastic. So once again, everybody, it's called The Essential Guide to Lighting Interiors, Techniques for Lighting with Small Flash. It is really, you just said it, and it's my opinion as well, it's a lighting book with a little dab of post-production at the end. It goes through one house and other kitchens and special situations. I would say, my own personal opinion, it's a must-read. If you're interested in doing this at all, check it out.
Mike, thanks for those kind words. I appreciate that.
Not a problem. Thanks for coming on, Scott.
You bet.
Bye.
Bye-bye.